This video is intended to give you a general understanding of how to perform certain adjustments or replacement procedures related to the steering system. This video, like the service manuals, is intended to be used as a reference by mechanics who have been trained to repair and service steering systems used on commercial vehicles. Prior to making a repair, refer to the appropriate service manual for additional information. Take all the necessary precautions to ensure both your safety and the safety of others around you. If you are not sure how to perform a procedure, consult your authorized TRW technical representative. Make sure axle stops and poppets are set correctly before beginning this procedure. Do not allow the fluid level to drop significantly or run low in the reservoir during the entire procedure. This may introduce air into the steering system. Find and correct the source of air entering the system before attempting this procedure. Clean the area around the reservoir, steering gear, and pump thoroughly before beginning this procedure to prevent dirt and foreign particles from entering the system. When replacing the reservoir filter, discard only the filter itself. Other components may be required to hold the filter element in place inside the reservoir. Flushing the steering system. TRW recommends that the steering system be flushed every time a gear, pump, or reservoir is replaced, whether the components are new or remanufactured. Set the parking brake on the vehicle and block the rear wheels. Raise the front end off the ground. Take the vehicle out of gear and put it into neutral position. Raise the hood and place a drip pan under the steering gear to catch the oil. Remove both the pressure and return lines from the steering gear and allow the oil to drain into the drip pan. Remove the filter from the power steering fluid reservoir and discard. Then disconnect the supply line from the reservoir. Clean the reservoir with the recommended power steering fluid. If the reservoir is made from plastic, inspect for cracks and damage. Replace if necessary. Turn the steering wheel from full left to full right 3 to 4 times. This will purge the oil from the steering gear. Collect the drained oil in the drip pan. Reconnect the pressure and return lines to the steering gear. Then reconnect the supply line to the reservoir. Tighten all connections. Install the new filter into the reservoir. If the reservoir is equipped with gaskets or seals, inspect them and replace if necessary. Inspect all hydraulic hoses for cracks, soft or sweat spots, and signs of local collapse. To do this, remove all covers and corrugated tubing from hoses. Replace any hoses that are found to be defective. Fill the reservoir with recommended replacement fluid and reinstall the filler cap. Start the engine. Let it idle for about 10 seconds. Then turn off the ignition. Check the reservoir fluid level and top it off if necessary. You may need to repeat this procedure 3 to 4 times. Upon completion of filling the reservoir, start the engine and let it idle. With the engine idling, steer full right and full left once and return to straight ahead. Turn off the ignition, check the power steering reservoir level and top it off if required. Caution, do not hold the steering at full lock for longer than 10 seconds, as this will cause the system to overheat. Restart the engine and steer to end of travel in each direction 3 to 4 times. Turn off the ignition, recheck the reservoir fluid level, and adjust it to the correct level if needed. Inspect the system for leaks and correct them if necessary. Bleed air from the system if required. Remove the drip pan and lower the vehicle. Remove the blocks from the rear wheels and return the vehicle to normal service. Air bleeding the system. Automatic and manual bleed steering gears. This demonstration will show you how to bleed the air out of the steering system for both automatic and manual bleed steering gears. This includes a single steering gear with a manual bleed screw, as well as a dual steering gear system, in which neither the gear nor the rotary cylinder has a manual bleed screw. Refer to Service Bulletin TAS 117 for more specific information. Automatic bleed systems. First, check the fluid level in the reservoir and fill if needed. Start the engine. Let it idle for 10 seconds, then turn off the ignition. Check the fluid level in the reservoir and refill if needed. Repeat this process at least 3 times, making sure to check and refill the reservoir each time if necessary. Next, start the engine and let it idle for 2 minutes without steering. Turn off the ignition and recheck the fluid level. Refill if necessary. Now, start the engine again. Steer the vehicle full left to full right 3 to 4 times. Turn off the ignition and recheck the fluid level. Refill if necessary, then return the vehicle to service. Manual bleed systems. First, check the fluid level in the reservoir and fill if needed. Start the engine, let it idle for 10 seconds. Then, turn off the ignition. Check the fluid level in the reservoir and refill if needed. Repeat this process at least 3 times, making sure to check and refill the reservoir each time if necessary. Next, start the engine and let it idle for 2 minutes without steering. Turn off the ignition and recheck the fluid level. Refill if necessary. Start the engine and let idle. While the engine idles, steer from full left to full right 3 to 4 times. Stop steering with the wheels straight ahead and loosen the manual bleed screw 2 to 3 turns. Allow air and aerated fluid to bleed out until the fluid does not bubble. Close the bleed screw and refill the reservoir if required. Repeat this process 3 to 4 times until all the air is discharged. When all the air has been removed from the system, torque the manual bleed screw to 3 to 4 foot-pounds.